She sat quietly at the edge of the cafe, her trembling hands clutching an old, worn-out scarf that barely matched her faded dress. The evening light filtered through the glass walls, painting her reflection against the rain outside. The world seemed to mock her. Couples laughing, friends sharing stories, waiters rushing between tables. And there she was, invisible. Her name was Maya. She had almost turned around 3 times before walking in. Her shoes were scuffed, her dress was a decade old, and her face, though beautiful, carried the exhaustion of life's cruel jokes. She knew she didn't belong in this fancy place. But the woman who had arranged the blind date for her had insisted. "He's not like others," her friend had said. "He's kind." Kind. Maya wasn't sure if that word still meant anything in her world. She had been betrayed, abandoned, and forgotten more times than she could count. Her life had been one long test of endurance, a mother's hospital bills, a lost job, and the humiliation of begging for a chance. And now, here she was, sitting at a table where the napkins were cleaner than her dreams. The door opened. A tall man walked in. His black suit was cut with precision, his watch gleamed, and his calm authority made heads turn. The staff straightened up, whispering his name, Adrian Cole, the CEO of Cole Enterprises. Maya froze. No, this couldn't be him. Adrian glanced around, holding a faintly curious smile. He had agreed to this blind date out of politeness, a friend's persistent request. He wasn't looking for love. He hadn't been, not since his fiancée died 5 years ago in a car accident. His world had become cold boardrooms, empty mansions, and sleepless nights haunted by guilt. But then, his eyes stopped, on her. A woman sitting alone, nervously twisting her scarf, her eyes flickering between fear and dignity. She looked out of place. Not just in that cafe, but in the kind of world he lived in. He walked toward her. "Are you Maya?" he asked softly. She nodded, embarrassed. "Yes, I'm sorry. I must look beautiful," he interrupted. Her eyes widened. No one had said that to her in years. He smiled, not out of pity, but with something deeper. Curiosity. Warmth. "You look nervous," he said. "Relax. It's just coffee." She tried to smile, but her hands trembled. "I didn't expect this place to be so expensive," he finished for her. "Then let's leave." "What?" He stood, offering his hand. "Come, let's find a place that feels more like you." She hesitated, but something in his eyes made her trust him. They walked out into the drizzle, the city lights reflecting off puddles like tiny galaxies. He led her to a small food stall at the corner, where an old man sold noodles and tea. He ordered 2 cups. "Best tea in the city," he said. She stared at him, this billionaire CEO, sitting on a broken bench beside her, sipping from a paper cup. He looked happier than anyone she'd ever seen. "Why are you doing this?" she finally asked. He looked at her, thoughtful. "Because I like real things, Maya. Money buys walls, not warmth." She didn't know what to say. So she told him the truth. About her sick mother, the debt collectors, the nights she went hungry. About how she almost didn't come because she had nothing decent to wear. And for the first time in a long time, Adrian listened, really listened. He didn't interrupt, didn't flinch. When she finished, tears silently falling, he said quietly, "You don't need to apologize for surviving." That night, he drove her home, to a small, dimly lit apartment that looked more like a shadow than a home. She thanked him and turned to leave, but he stopped her. "Maya," he said, "can I see you again?" Her heart skipped. You want to see me? I'd like to have tea again. Tomorrow. My treat." She smiled for the first time that night, a real smile. Days turned into weeks. Every evening, they met at that little stall. She would tell him about her job search, her mother's progress, and the tiny victories of her day. He would tell her stories of his childhood, of the times he was broke and scared, long before success. He never told her who he was. Not really. She just thought he was Adrian, the quiet man with kind eyes. But the world has a cruel way of testing love. One afternoon, Maya's mother's condition worsened. The hospital demanded payment immediately, money she didn't have. Desperate, she ran to Adrian's company building, not knowing it was his. She begged the receptionist for a meeting with the CEO, thinking maybe he could help her find work. "Mr. Cole doesn't see unscheduled visitors," the receptionist said coldly. "Please, just 5 minutes. Ma'am, you're disturbing our clients." Before she could say more, the doors opened, and Adrian walked in. "Maya," he said, shocked. She froze. "Adrian, what are you doing here?" Everyone in the lobby turned. The receptionist gasped. You know her." Adrian's voice softened. "Yes, she's with me." He took her hand, ignoring the whispers. "Come to my office." Inside, she stared at the view from the top floor. The city stretched like an ocean of lights below. She could barely speak. "You're the CEO?" He nodded. "Yes, I should have told you. I wanted you to know me before the title." Tears welled in her eyes. "I don't belong here, Adrian. Look at me. I am," he said gently. "And I've never seen anything more real." She broke down then, years of humiliation pouring out in sobs. He held her without a word. He paid for her mother's treatment that same day, no questions asked. But he did something more. He gave Maya a job in his company, not out of charity, but because he saw her strength. Months passed. Maya worked hard, earning respect from everyone. She never took advantage of his help. She wanted to prove she deserved her place. Their bond deepened. Quiet dinners, laughter over coffee, stolen glances during meetings. Yet, both carried fears. One night, Adrian confessed, "I lost someone I loved. I thought I'd never feel again. But you brought color back into my life." Maya reached for his hand. "And you taught me that not all rich men are heartless." They smiled. But love, as always, had one more test. A photo leaked. Maya and Adrian leaving the office hand in hand. The tabloids exploded. "CEO dating former beggar," screamed the headlines. People mocked her, called her a gold digger. Even employees whispered behind her back. Adrian stood beside her through it all. At a press conference meant to address the rumors, he took her hand before the cameras. "Yes," he said firmly. "I'm in love with her. She's the reason I smile again. And if that offends anyone, I suggest you look in a mirror and ask what you've become." The room went silent. Maya cried. That night, she asked, "Why did you risk your reputation?" He smiled faintly. "Because love isn't a business deal. It's the only truth that makes life worth it." Years later, they married quietly under the same tree where they once drank tea. No media, no luxury, just peace. Her mother recovered, walked her down the aisle, and whispered, "See, my child. God never forgets those who stay kind." Maya looked at Adrian, tears glistening. "You loved me when I had nothing." He kissed her forehead. "And that's how I knew it was real." As the sun set, a soft breeze carried laughter through the leaves, a sound that felt like healing. Maya often told their story to young women at shelters. "Don't let your clothes, your pain, or your past decide your worth," she would say. "Because sometimes, even when you feel invisible, someone sees you, not for what you wear, but for who you are." And Adrian would watch from afar, smiling, knowing that the woman who once walked into a cafe dressed like a beggar had become the most beautiful soul he had ever known. Because love, the real kind, never cares about appearances. It only recognizes hearts brave enough to still believe.